That seems to be recording. All right. Welcome to the Get Busy Living podcast with Aldwyn Altuney. And she's given me a spiel to talk about, so to introduce her with. So this is awesome, Alwyn. So Alwyn is a mass media marketing expert known as the Media Queen. She is a TV host, speaker, photojournalist, and author of multiple international best-selling books. With 40 years media experience, her PR company, AA Expose Media, is the only one she knows that guarantees results in the mainstream media. She is passionate about inspiring more good news in the mass media to help decrease depression and suicide rates and lift people's spirits. Hallelujah. And in 2018, she founded the Mass Media Tribe and Gold Coast Business Laughter Club meetup group. She also founded the Global Good News Day in 2018, which is run annually on August 8th, and monthly Global Good News Challenges in June 2020. She's also an animal activist. She founded Animal Action Events in 2007 and has run 17 annual charity events so far, raising awareness, appreciation, and respect for all animals. Hallelujah. In her spare time, she loves performing in her comedy duo, the Fiddly Gigglers. Gigglers. I got that right. Acting, playing ukulele, long beach walks, I do too, and body surfing. As a stand for truth, good news, and animal welfare, one of her favorite sayings is by Gandhi: be the change you wish to see in the world. So that's awesome, Alwyn. So yeah, that,
Yay!
that's
Thank you so much. Thank you, Scott. That was awesome. That deserves the clap. Yay! Well done. Well,
you're spreading the clap again. All right, that's good.
giving everyone the clap today. You get an extra
Yeah,
bonus.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, and those hearts, love hearts and claps.
Yes, and my love
All the
hearts.
claps.
Sending you love as well, wherever you are in the world.
That's it.
Thank you for joining us.
Appreciate it. And so I'm going to start with that. Yeah, I've already started with the big intro, so that's pretty awesome. All right, I'm going to start with my first question. So, L1, what gets you out of bed every day?
Well, I don't usually wake up to an alarm nowadays because I find often, well, particularly not the fright or flight alarms. A lot of people wake up to go, dear, 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 and it's just immediate fright or flight. So often nowadays, I will not wake up to an alarm. Sometimes if I know I've only had a little bit of sleep, I will set an alarm. However, I set relaxing music, I set positive tunes, and I wake up slowly. So that's how I wake up. What gets me out of bed is being alive, is being grateful to be alive. And particularly since COVID, I have had a lot of friends that have unfortunately passed away unexpectedly in their 50s, in their 60s, have just suddenly dropped dead. And I think the more people that I've seen over the years that have just suddenly disappeared from the world, it's made me even more grateful to be here. And getting out of bed, I always think I'm so grateful to be here and be alive, and every day on the planet is a blessing. So that is what gets me out of bed, is that I get inspired by life and being alive.
Yeah, that's so true. I agree with you. Helping as many people as possible, and I can see that from your media experience and yeah, 40 years. Like, wow, you
Yeah.
would have helped so many people over that 40-year period, especially with
Yeah.
the social media exposure.
Absolutely. Yeah. Helped thousands of people to get clarity on their message, to step up and speak up, to share their message, their stories with the world through the media, through traditional media originally. I started way back in the traditional media days when we only had mainstream media. Of course, 20 years ago, social media came about, and now we have 4.9 billion people are active social media users. So about half the world's population are active social media users, which has been really interesting to see the changing times of media over the last 20 years. And it's very exciting times now, really, that we get to shape the news ourselves. We get to actually, anyone can sort of get out there now and start their own show, and you don't have to have the journalistic background that I had. And I know I don't look a day over 25. I know 40 years sounds like a long time, but I actually was first featured in the media at age 10 for table tennis in Sydney. I was interviewed by the Manly Daily in Sydney, and I was on Cartoon Connection on Channel 7 when I was 11 years of age for table tennis. So I was a top junior table tennis player in Sydney and represented Australia, and was one of the top. I was the top in my age group for the under 17 age group from about the age of 11. So I was a very active sports person, I guess, in my younger years. And at the same time, I was actually really angry with the world and didn't want to be here for a long time as well. So it was a really interesting upbringing that I had. However, the media background, then my curiosity started from age 10, and I'm now about to turn 50 in about 2 weeks' time. I'm turning 50. So it's actually 40 years this year of media experience. I did my own radio show at Radio Manly Warringah in Sydney when I was 13. I did work experience at the Manly Daily. Then I went on and did a media degree in Canberra, did photojournalism and TV production, and then went on for 20 plus years working in TV, radio, print. I've had my own media business now for over 20 years. So it's been an extraordinary ride. Interviewed some phenomenal people like Hugh Jackman, Cyndi Lauper, Russell Crowe, Charlie Sheen, Jewel, some phenomenal people in my time as a journalist. And Debbie Harry was interesting. From Blondie is one of my favourite bands growing up, and Debbie Harry is absolute legend. She performed on the Gold Coast actually when she was about 60, and she was awesome. And so it's been an amazing ride working in the media. And of course, as a media trainer now, I've actually helped a lot of people get free publicity in traditional media, and also help them start their own shows and help them step up and speak up in any area of their life where they want to make a bigger difference, and maybe they're a little bit shy or don't have the courage or confidence to step up and speak up. Because generally, Scott, we are not taught to do that here in Australia. It's all about rise to the middle in Australia, right? That's what it's about. Rise to the middle, and we tend to knock people down when they become successful. And in fact, I know growing up in Sydney when I was at Mossman High School, people who exceeded in their studies, they were called keen beans. That was the way that they were knocked at school. They were called keen bean if you were good at school. And I know that I had a lot of bullying from a young age as well, not just because I was an elite table tennis player, but because I was a first generation Australian. I have Greek, Turkish, Ukrainian background, born in Sydney, and so I look pretty Aussie, I guess, but my name's different. The food I took to school was different, and where I grew up in the Northern Beaches was a very big Anglo-Saxon kind of area, and they hadn't really seen many people from other countries, from European backgrounds, or now it's so multicultural now, it's ridiculous. It's like spot the Caucasian nowadays in Sydney.
Anyway,
there's no English writing. You don't even know what they say on the shop walls at some places.
Yes. Melbourne's the same. I saw that in Melbourne as well.
Yes.
Like, where am I?
Yes, exactly.
Am I in Southeast Asia, or am I in Melbourne?
Yeah, it's like a time warp. It's insane. However, it's I guess Australia being a fairly new country with the English background, I guess. Of course, Aboriginals been around for thousands of years or millions of years, been around a long time. And it's now very, very multicultural, which is very exciting in many ways. And I think nowadays people are a lot more open-minded. We don't have so much racism as we did back then. There was definitely a lot of racism, although now we've got cyberbullying and things like that people deal with that wasn't around back then. So I guess there's always going to be pros and cons with every generation.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. It was more physical, in your face when we were younger, and now it's more indirect. It's more indirect bullying.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that with a few kids, including my own son. And I understand how difficult it is, and the puzzle that kids have to put together to blend in with society. And you're right. If you've got even still, even if you still have a different background to most people, different nationality, they still find it tough even today. Just that it's not as in your face now. It's not, it doesn't
Yeah.
happen in your face. They do it
Yeah.
behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's a lot more accepted now, I think, to have, multiracial marriages, etc. Nowadays. It's a lot more accepted. It's a lot more common nowadays than it ever was. However, there probably, people may still have ideas of racism. They may not talk about it as much, but there would be some underlying racism, no doubt. However, really, anyone who's Caucasian in Australia has some kind of European background, whether it's English or European, Eastern European, Western European, generally, if you're Caucasian, if you're fair-skinned, you have original heritage would have come from, over that way somewhere, over in Europe or Scandinavia or somewhere like that, right? So, unless you're Aboriginal, you're not I guess a true original Australian, right? However,
that's right.
now we've
exactly
all
right.
embraced
Well,
Australia.
that's exactly right. And so my family's from Ireland, so
From
yeah,
Ireland, yeah, there you go.
so the Irish weren't treated too well either.
No, they had a hell
originally,
yeah.
when the English came over. So usually they came over as second-rate citizens and were treated badly as well. So yeah, there is that tyranny, but I think people are starting to understand now. They're starting to realise that we're all equal. We're all equal, and we're all made in the same shape. So it doesn't really matter what color you are or where you're from. It all comes back to how you behave. If you behave sensibly, then people are going to treat you with honor.
Yeah,
And that's a word that doesn't get thrown around very often anymore. Honor.
Yeah, honor or even morals. Gosh, what are they nowadays? Oh my gosh, does
Yeah.
anyone have morals anymore? I mean, it's it's interesting times. When we grew up in Sydney, we had the cane. And people were scared about doing things that were going to get them the cane, that they were going to get them whipped. Well, nowadays we have 10-year-olds literally getting away with murder, and there's some. In some ways, we've really progressed a long way, and in other ways, I think we've really gone backwards. And it's really interesting to see how things have changed, not just in the media, which has massively changed. The whole mass media marketing world has drastically changed, but also how life has changed. And I think there's always been dark times in the past. There's been depressions, and there's been times that people have come out of that, and there's been movements that have happened, etc. And I think that this is part of the get busy living. I love the title of this podcast because life is about riding the waves of life. It's about riding those highs, riding those lows, adapting to changes, right? And in fact, in February, I actually got swept out to sea in Coffs Harbour. And I just heard literally last few days, someone drowned in Coffs Harbour at Park Beach, which is 6 kilometres north of where I was at Boambi Beach. And this beach, it was actually Boambi Creek, was actually a very shallow creek. When you hopped in the water, it only came up to my knees. And I literally was just floating along, and normally there's a sandbank at the end where you stop before you go into the ocean. However, in this particular case, the tide was going out, and I was about a meter to the right of this sandbank, and I was just floating along, just having, relaxing in this very shallow creek. Next thing, this massive wave came over me, and then another wave, and it was very rough season. Before I knew it, I was about a kilometre out to sea. And there was no lifeguards. This was a 4-wheel drive beach. So there was a headland on one side, no lifeguards, no boats. I was basically like an ant in the ocean. Like at any moment, I could have got taken by a shark. And that was my biggest fear out there, is that because this area is known for sharks, right? And we've actually had 35 drownings in Australia that I saw just through December, 35 drownings. And this area, interestingly, it said on the Coffs Harbour Council website, it said that this was a safe area for children to swim. where I was, a safe area for children to swim. So I got the media onto it. I got out the safety message. I did a live video to share about beach safety and about going with the flow, right? Here we are talking about riding the waves of life. If I attempted to fight those waves, there's no way I would have got out of it. And I've been caught in a lot of rips. I'm actually quite a strong swimmer, but I knew not to fight these waves because I knew they were too strong. And I knew if I tried to swim against it, I would have run out of breath and I would have drowned. So I knew I had to go with it, knowing that there was no lifeguards, no boats. Thankfully, I had some friends back at shore. However, I was there 1 minute and gone the next. So they had no idea where I was initially. And I just had to deal with my monkey chatter in my brain that was happening at that point. And the first thought that I thought was, oh my gosh, I have said to people in the past that if I was to die, that the ocean would be a great way to go. And there I was at 49 in February, earlier last year, thinking, oh my gosh, have I manifested this? And literally the day before, I was doing a workshop with Angelique Pellegrino. She's one of our Mass Media Mastery members, one of my clients. We collaborated at an event called Open Your Mind to Flourish. Open your mind to flourish. And we were literally saying the day before at this event, we were saying everything happens for you, not to you. Right. So there I was thinking, oh my gosh, have I manifested this? Is this happening how is this happening for me? And then, oh my gosh, this is going to be my last day on the planet. Just keep breathing. And then there were moments I was crying. I was crying, I was praying, I was basically trying to keep my head above water, right? That I was just trying to stay afloat, and I had to go with the flow. So there's times that things happen in life, and right now we've seen a lot of challenges happening, particularly in the last year. We've had about 12 interest rate rises or so that have happened already in the last year. So for anyone that owns property, they're and has mortgages, their expenses have gone through the roof. For anyone renting, generally rents have gone up, expenses have gone up. There's a lot of pressure at the moment financially. People have had the health challenges dealing with COVID, lockdowns, all that kind of stuff. There's been massive pressure going on the last few years, and the strong will make it through. And those who are not able to withstand the blows of life, right, that are going to happen, they will basically drown. You will drown, and you will kill yourself, right? Or you will get depressed, because the fact is 1 in 3 people have depression, and the stats are actually 1 million people worldwide take their own lives. And through COVID, we've had 4 times the number of people take their own lives through COVID. I've had 4 of my friends take their own lives, not during COVID, before COVID. 4 friends took their own lives by the age of 45. I've personally had depression. So now I'm even more passionate about getting busy living, because the fact is that at any moment, anything could happen. Anyone could go. My friend Debbie, I heard yesterday, Debbie Cliff just died literally New Year's Day, literally a few days ago. She was fantastic up until recently. The floods happened in Cairns. She lost everything in Holloway's Beach in Cairns. And yet she still soldiered on, yet her heart gave in, right? She had a heart attack. And there's one of her videos, she said, this is heartbreaking to see this. She said, this is like a war zone in Cairns with what's happened over there. And I looked at some of the videos, and it was heartbreaking. And unfortunately, her heart gave in and she died. And here 1 minute, gone the next. And this is life, right? This is life. So getting busy living is what it's all about, Scott.
Yeah, it's the same for me. Last year, I had a friend. We used to go camping a lot, and he had mental health issues most of the last 15 years anyway. And it was unexpected. It was unexpected that he took his own life. And all my friends that know him, we all turned up, and there was a fair few people there, but. That's what we said. We made a pact with each other. We all said, if you don't feel well, don't get your pride too high, because we're here to help each other. We're here to, and that's what we said to each other. We said we need to talk to each other more. We need to understand what's going on in our lives, and understand better about how we can help each other through these times, because we don't want to lose another mate because of that reason.
Yes.
All because of pressures, basically. And a dear friend we lost, all because we didn't talk to each other enough. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we made a pact so we could all talk to each other.
Well, that's
That's why I
wonderful
laugh.
that you
That's
do
why I
that.
laugh at my industry. That the medical fraternity talk about we need to talk more about mental health, but then I'm not allowed to talk about anyone's mental health. I'm not allowed to say, oh, this person's got this, or
Right.
it's strange,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Well, this is
strange
the thing.
rules.
Yeah, well, a lot of people don't talk about the mental health issues they're having, and 1 in 3 people have depression, and that's a lot of people, right? A lot, and
Yeah.
the thing is, half the thing is just getting conscious where you've been unconscious. And I actually did a great interview on Media Queen TV with a lady called Tracy Corman, all about how to overcome abuse and depression. And we gave some great tips on what we've used in our life on how to overcome depression. And, one of them is getting into gratitude. And this is part of why I started the Global Good News Challenge. It started in June 2020. In the height of COVID, I thought there's so much negativity out there. People are going to absolutely be doing their head in. If you watch the mainstream media and believe everything you hear in the mainstream media, because a lot of it is not true, my friends, I can tell you, I've worked in the media. A lot of it is not true. There's a lot of other agendas at play. And we know from the censorship through COVID that we know that a lot of it is not true because it gets censored. And if there's nothing to hide, why the censorship? So, question to ponder. There's nothing to hide. Why the censorship? We've seen it happen through COVID. There's all sorts of agendas at play here. And basically, the fact is that what I think the trick is to having a full life is to always come from a loving place, be aware of what's going on, come from a loving place, because get that hurt people hurt people. Hurt people hurt
Yeah.
people. Right.
That's
And unfortunately, we have some very evil people that are in powerful positions in this world. In saying that, we also have some beautiful people that are in powerful positions. And the more that we empower ourselves, the more we're going to be able to impact our lives through things like gratitude, right? Getting into gratitude is such a simple thing. And something I do with my team every morning. Every morning, we do a daily gratitude check-in. Every morning, we say, good morning. 3 things I'm grateful for today are, we talk about one thing we're grateful for on a wider scale. So it could be I'm grateful for the sun. Something smaller, I'm grateful for animals. And there's something about ourselves we're grateful for. So for me, it's I'm grateful for my resilience, right? So 3 things every morning. That's a gratitude practice. Doing the Global Good News Challenge is a gratitude practice. It's very simple. It's a free challenge every month, a live video challenge where people just share their name, what they do, 3 things they're grateful for, and their good news for the day. And then once they hashtag Global Good News Challenge on there, we share the challenge out to thousands of people. It's free marketing for you. We add you to a private group. You can win prizes. All the details are at the top of the Global Good News Challenge Facebook page. And it's really easy, Scott. In fact, for January, it's a 1-day challenge. So just doing one live video, sharing. And most people do it in about 3 minutes. Okay, one live video anytime within January for the first month. And then February is a 2 days. So 2 days in a row, that's the challenge. Then it goes 3 days for March, being the 3rd month, right? And that's how it goes up until 12 days for December. So it's also encouraging people to actually share themselves, to build up the courage and confidence to get on camera and to share with the world. And what the beautiful thing of this is a beautiful ripple effect, because you feel great when you share gratitude. People who see your video, they feel great and they find out things about you. They connect with you. And I think that's something we need more than ever now, is connection. And a lot of that was taken away through COVID with this social distancing, with this mask wearing. People were depressed, and it's just not natural. We're meant to be connected as human beings. And when you're disconnected, that's when you will also become depressed.
Yeah. Hello. And so that's definitely. So I worked in a hospital system for 10 years as a security officer, and we got to see everything. We're allowed to go anywhere. We can go to theatre. We can go, anywhere we want. We stayed out of the research centres.
Okay.
Because it's where the viruses and the likes
Right.
are.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. We got bombarded with a virus, didn't we? So, what was I going to say? And the only place we ever gowned up and put masks on, because there's there's VRE, there's different types of viruses throughout the hospital system, throughout the hospitals, because patients get them and they're immune compromised, and they can't fight it off. So the viruses get around pretty easy. So in a hospital. So yeah, don't try not to stay in a hospital, guys. 2 weeks and I'll be trying to get out. Limits 2 weeks, okay? So the only place we ever actually gowned up and actually put face masks on and was the hematology department because they're bloodborne diseases. So you got a pretty good chance of stopping a bloodborne disease than you are a virus. Like the virus, you can't stop. They told us that. They said that to us. You know, this is
right.
When I finished 2018. So I'd ask the doctors. They'd say that they'd say to me, "Oh, no, viruses you can't stop them because we're human beings. We pull our mask down. We wipe our noses. So the virus can live for up to 24 hours, depending on the virus, on your shirt. So if you touch your shirt, you wipe your face or whatever, you're going to get it eventually. So that's why when I heard about, we're going to have to wear masks because there's virus, I thought, okay. So we're going against the 10 years of education that I got in the hospital system. We're going against that completely. And these are coming from professors that are virology specialists. So I was like, okay, fair enough. If you guys want to do that, that's fair enough. But I'll follow the hospital protocols because that's what they were previously.
Well, how interesting you say that, Scott, because I did an interview with someone about the dangers of mask wearing, in fact, the dangers. And that was censored online. It actually got a slap on YouTube. They didn't like it. They said, this goes against our community standards. And there was lots of evidence in that interview about why masks are actually dangerous. And in fact, I actually got an exemption through COVID because I started wearing the mask initially, but then I actually just started feeling depressed. I started feeling like I can't breathe through this thing. And so I actually got an exemption, and I actually flew interstate twice without the mask. I was asked to wear the mask. I said, I'm exempt. That was it. I'm exempt. And then I didn't wear the mask. I was the only one, in fact, on several planes that didn't wear the mask. Then I flew to Thailand during COVID. And again, they said, wear the mask. It was an Asian flight. And I said, I'm exempt. And that was the only time I actually showed my certificate of exemption from the doctor. However, it was fantastic because they gave me 4 seats all to myself in the plane. Everyone else was crammed in there, but they obviously thought I was going to infect people. So they gave me 4 seats to myself. I was able to stretch out, lie down. It was absolutely brilliant. So thank you for that, for that airline. But, you know, this is the thing is that, you know, it's important to do your own research. And, you know, if it doesn't feel right, if something feels a bit off, then do your own research and don't just Google, right? Look at places like BitChute and Rumble and look at some of this alternative media where you can get information that is uncensored. And I saw quite a bit of content being censored on Facebook and YouTube, particularly those two particularly. I saw quite a bit of censorship and very interesting. The kinds of things that were censored was generally around the jab, around 5G, around mask wearing. They were the 3 main ones that were censored because they went against the agenda, went against the community standards, right? However, as I say, if there's nothing to hide, why the censorship, my friends? And, you know, if you want to wear a mask, you go right ahead. You know, if you want to get the jab, you go right ahead. Don't try and force that shit on me. In fact, my whole family got the jab. My dad got shingles from it. And I know many other people had other side effects. Some people had no side effects. But to me, it's like, well, Russian roulette. Why would you take that risk? You know, and in fact, most people I know got the jab also got COVID. How interesting, right? How interesting. I've been very healthy. I'm doing great. You know, and I don't do well with needles because I had a tetanus shot, Scott, about 25 years ago. They said I need a tetanus shot to go to China. I got this tetanus shot, and I think I don't know if they got the wrong spot. They went to in my backside. They kind of went the side of the backside. And I have had sciatica down that side of my body ever since I got this tetanus shot. And I can still feel all these years later, I can feel the lump in my butt cheek, let's just say, in the butt cheek. I can feel the lump where they put that needle for the tetanus shot all those years ago. So for me personally, I don't react well with needles at all. I would rather just do things as naturally as possible when it comes to health. So I love what you do, Scott, as naturally as possible.
I was just going to say,
yes.
I use needles all day, every day.
Oh, there you go. We probably give people vitamin shots, do you?
No, my needles are solid. You can't inject anything through them. So
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Oh, okay.
they're very fine as well. Very, very fine. You can hardly feel them.
Right, right, right. Well, I think acupuncture's great. I think that's okay. Those kind of needles are all right.
Yeah, yeah. And that's the problem is I see that a lot with phobias. Uh,
Mm.
People are worried about the needles, but that's why I get them to feel them and see them first, and because
Right.
they're not sure. They never, they're so scared because of the injections that they've had when they were younger. They
Mm.
they don't like the acupuncture needles as well, and I try to explain to them that they, this is nothing. They're not designed to penetrate an artery, whereas the dermal needles, the needles that your doctor or nurses use, they're designed to penetrate an artery. They're supposed to. That's what they're supposed to do.
Right,
Whereas these
right.
don't. They're not designed to penetrate an artery.
Okay, okay. Well,
They're only designed to stimulate neurons. That's all they're really designed to
mm,
do.
well, I think a lot more people, when it comes to health now, are looking at alternative medicines. I don't think people are trusting the pharmaceutical industry as much as they used to,
I
because
can't understand why. I can't
yeah,
understand why.
well, I mean, apparently there's hundreds of thousands of deaths by doctor error every year, something like that. I've actually heard of doctors chopping off the wrong leg. So someone will go in with a problem with the left leg in to get surgery, and they've actually had the right leg chopped off. I've heard of that kind of thing happening. Like,
I saw it. I
human
saw it.
beings.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's right. Yeah, so it's number 3. They call it medical mishaps. It's number 3 in the States, in the
There you
United
go.
States.
Medical mishaps. Mm,
So
medical
that's
mishaps.
pharmaceutical uh, overdose or botched surgeries. Neglect is another one. So yeah,
Right.
it, uh, with medical devices breaking and killing people. So yeah, it does
Mm,
happen.
mm. Yeah, absolutely. So, I think it's important to take health into your own hands as well. Trust your own body. If a doctor gives you something and says, take this medicine, and you react badly to it, well, it's up to you to go back to that doctor or health or natural health doctor or whoever that is, whatever health expert you're seeing, and to let them know, because, people, I'm sure most doctors are great. I'm sure most people in the natural health world, I'm sure they're all doing the best with the information that they know. Right. But they don't, like, the thing is, they don't know your body exactly. They don't know how you're going to react. And in fact, once I was in hospital, actually, I was given antibiotics by intravenous. I was giving antibiotics, and I actually, my face started swelling. Right. I actually started to get the face swelling, and they said, oh, that's the penicillin. They said 70% of people react to penicillin. So why the hell would you give people something that 70% of people are going to react to that? Wouldn't you give some people something that less people are going to react than 70%? That's a 7 in 10 chance that you're going to react. And so I actually had this swelling. I ended up with this big sort of sore around my mouth from this antibiotic injection, from this issue that I had a while ago. And it was horrible. And as you say, most people get more sick in hospital than actually better. And they give you things like white bread sandwiches and sugar, and they just give you crap food as well, and this is meant to be someone looking after your health. They feed you
Yeah, yeah.
crap, and they,
The
there's
nurse,
a lot of
the
nurses
nurses
on.
out there, they will know. The nurses out
Yes,
there, they will know. They will see it. They
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 would.
they. I saw a patient I was looking after. He was a type 2 diabetic, and yeah, I don't know how he got it, but he got a Tim Tam.
Right, you got a Tim Tam. How interesting.
He's in
Wow.
hospital. He's in a hospital environment. Yeah,
Wow.
go figure.
Craziness. Crazy.
Yeah. So
Wow.
the
So if you're
yeah,
not sick by the time you go to hospital, you will be by the time you get out. Right? That's usually how it goes. Or
well,
you'll have
yeah.
something else. You'll have a different condition. Right?
I like to see the statistics on how many make it in and how many make it out. That'd be good to find out actually.
Yeah. Yeah. You do
Those
hear of a lot of
statistics
people
don't.
picking up other infections and things. You hear about that a lot.
Yeah.
They go to hospital with one thing, and there's botched operations, and then they pick up other illnesses and God knows what. So yeah, it all happens.
Yeah. It's like you said, the human beings. The system isn't perfect, unfortunately, and
Yeah.
I saw they'll go to very long lengths. The hierarchy, I mean, will go to very long lengths to cover stuff up.
Oh,
Very long.
yes. Yes, yes. And they'll just pay some people out, right? They'll just make offers
Yes.
to pay you to
Yes.
shut up. Right? How many people have accepted
Especially,
those kind of bribes?
especially deceased estates. Deceased estates,
Yes.
they get the big bucks.
Yeah, yeah. You would see it all. It's fascinating. And I mean, really, without our health, nothing else matters. Really, health
Yeah.
is number one. I mean, it may not be everyone's top value, and if it's not your top value here as we come into 2024, health has to be one of your highest priorities if you want to have a better quality of life in all areas of your life, in all the other areas of life. If you don't have your health, you got nothing else. And as they say, most people spend their health to get their wealth, and then they spend their wealth to get their health back. And if you think about it, just by having a fully functioning body, we are worth at least $1 billion, I would say, Scott. In fact, we are 1 in a billion just by being alive. We've beaten about 1 billion swimmers to get to the finish line. And so you're 1 in a billion just by being alive. And we often don't appreciate our bodies. And I know a lot of people, they can be really hard on themselves. They can look at themselves in the mirror and go, oh gosh, there's some more gray hairs. Oh, I'm looking old. Or, just notice if you have negative self-talk around how you look right now. And if you're not happy with how you look, then how about doing something about it? This morning I went for a 90-minute walk on the beach, Scott, and I went for a swim in the ocean. I got up at 5 a.m. I was so proud of myself, and I haven't done that for quite some time, let me tell you. However, I felt amazing, and my day so far has been so productive. I've had a fantastic day. I've been speaking my truth all over the place, and it's been a really great day because it started off really well. So what got me out of bed this morning was the thought of being in the ocean, because it's one of my favorite things to do. That's what got me up this morning, right? So I think it's different things each day as to what gets me out of bed. However, I must say I'm very inspired by inspiring people, by people who make the most of life regardless of the challenges that they've overcome. And the most inspiring stories are often from people that you don't even realize have inspiring stories. And I know as a journalist for many years, sometimes you might look at someone and think, oh, that's plain Jane over there. But then you start to talk to plain old Jane, and she's suddenly not plain at all. She's got a fascinating life story, right? In fact, one of my clients, Lorna Buckland, she was given 3 months to live 41 years ago. She's extraordinary. Last year, we did some events together called Skyrocket Your Success. And she's an amazing lady. And, you look at her and you probably think, oh, there's nothing that special about her. But then you start to chat to her and you think, oh, my gosh, this lady has overcome some phenomenal things. And she's got like master NLP practitioner. She's got so many credentials under her belt. It's ridiculous. And she keeps chugging on. She still has her health challenges. However, she has beaten the odds. She doesn't just listen to the doctor that says you've got 3 months to live. She has proven 41 years on that that she had a lot more than 3 months to live. And the thing is, we never know when our time's up. However, having that inner resilience and looking after ourselves on many levels, not just the physical level, but actually looking after ourselves mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all those areas impact how our physical health is, because we do tend to bottle up emotional dramas like Linda Goodman's I'm thinking of Linda Goodman's Love Signs. That's a great astrology book, but that's not the one I was going to mention here. But the emotional, what's the lady that died? She passed away. She wrote a book about the emotional signs of, it's right on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, there's a lady that talked about this, about how different ailments in the body symbolize different things. So, for example, if you've got back pain, often it's
Elizabeth Hayes.
That's it, Elizabeth Hayes. I said, Elizabeth Hayes. That's it, Elizabeth Hayes.
Yeah, she's a physio. She's a physiotherapist.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that some of the stuff she brought up, I thought, this is Chinese medicine. They were talking about this 2,000 years ago. Sorry to say.
Yes.
But yeah, she it was the way she formatted that book. She wrote a few of them. She's written about she wrote about 3 or 4 of them. Yeah, but she wrote other books as well. But yeah, she was the way she formatted it was excellent for our society today.
Yes.
The Chinese just wrote it in a different way.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Basically, anything physically that's going on, that generally there's some kind of emotional thing. And actually, Brandon Bays did a great thing around. Brandon Bays had a tumor the size of a basketball in her stomach, and she created something called the journey process. And she actually did this sort of meditation where she went into the body and she felt, she sort of through this meditation practice, she was able to heal her body without any medicines, without any pharmaceuticals, any drugs whatsoever, just through doing energetic work, which is really extraordinary when you go down that path as well.
Definitely. There's so many different. I always say this is that nature provides everything. You just have to find it. That's the hardest part, and a lot of people just won't. They're just too lazy, or just not that way of thinking. We'll try and find it. It is out there. You just got to find it.
Yes,
and,
absolutely.
Like you said before, this morning you treated your body like it was a temple, and now you feel like a goddess.
Yeah,
it's the same thing. If you do that every day, you can prevent a lot of these diseases.
Yeah.
A lot.
Absolutely. It's respecting the body. It's honoring the body. And, a lot of people have a lot of anger at the moment. I've noticed, particularly through COVID, there's been a lot of anger, a lot of resentment, a lot of this kind of energy. And, I love the saying that, resentment is like wanting someone else dead, but you take the poison. And I think a lot of people don't realize that when they're angry with the world or angry with other people or upset about something or anything like that, that they're actually poisoning themselves without even consciously realizing it. And so simple things like getting into gratitude, like practicing some self-care, getting a massage, eating healthy food, intermittent fasting is really powerful as well. Intermittent fasting is brilliant. And that's a great way if you want to lose weight fast or shed some kilos fast, do some intermittent fasting, and eat smaller portions, all those kind of things. That all helps as well. I'm curious, Scott, what your thoughts are on vegetarianism, eating more vegetables and fruit as opposed to meat. What are your thoughts on health with that?
Well, I've had many vegan patients in the past, and it is a good lifestyle if you can keep it to a plant-based. But the problem is they get lazy, just like everyone else. And that's why you can have fat vegans. Why? Because they eat their highly processed vegetables, like corn chips. It's still a vegetable.
Yes.
It's highly processed. So the other thing is, what I found is over time, they will eventually become very weak. Not immediately. It might take a few years. But eventually they'll just feel run down all the time.
Okay.
Just tired, and almost anemic. So what do I mean? Not anemic. Ischemia. So they become very pale. Very
interesting.
So the oxygen can't get around the body properly. But you look, if the yogis can do it, I mean. Those guys live in caves and for years on end and look magnificent. They don't eat much more than moss and water. So, look, I think, if you can keep to a plant-based diet, then that's okay. If you can stick to it, but not many people can.
Yeah,
I haven't come across many. There's not many people that can do it.
Yeah. Well, I'm a 95% vegetarian, I would say, and I'm a type A blood type as well. Now, it's interesting, my co-host with Total Truth Show, Ken Kleinberg, he loves his meat, right? And he's a big advocate for meat, and I find I get more energy from the vegetables. However, I probably do eat more food because I eat more vegetables. And I have seen people who are vegan who are very healthy, so maybe it's different for different body types. Maybe everyone's a little bit different with that. It's fascinating, but personally, I find if I have too much meat, I feel sluggish. Whereas with vegetables and fruit, I feel I get more energy from. So that's just how I work.
Yeah. So I think that's a good idea. to lose weight, I always say it's the opposite. If you want to lose weight, that's different. Okay, that's different. You need to speed up metabolism, and you need a high protein diet to do that. But once you've lost the weight, then what you're doing right now is perfect. 95% veggies and 5% protein, because you're still going to get, will you have like a protein meal once every few days or once a week, or is that what you're doing?
Yeah, a few times a week.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Once you've lost the weight, then that's perfect. You can look. There are different ways to lose weight. I found just the safest way is the high protein diet. But yeah, the 90-10 they call it. Some call it 90-10. Some do 80-20. They'll have 10% of their diet is protein, or 20% of their diet is protein.
Right.
But you try and fresh is best. More importantly, fresh is best. If there was a message I was going to give to people, and that the message would be, you need to eat as fresh as possible. More processed it is, the more our bodies just aren't designed to eat processed food. There's so much research to prove it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think anything in a packet, generally, you're going to have a lot of, nasty things in there to keep the food sort of edible over time. Where you think really the fastest food was actually going into the garden and, picking some fruit or some vegetables straight from the garden. And it's so yummy, really, when you have organic food. And in fact, I have an organic garden at my place. We do composting here in Southport, and we have some fruit trees and some veggies in the garden, and I just love it. There's nothing like having food straight from the garden. It's the freshest you'll get. It's so tasty, and I would encourage more people to do that, to actually get your home veggie gardens going. And particularly with the skyrocketing veggie prices that's been going on as well, it's a great way to save yourself some cash as well. So it's a win-win there.
So that it's the same thing with meats as well. The fresher the better. Like it's better to have a steak than it is to have like a hot dog. A hot dog. Yeah, I wouldn't be eating that at all. It's it causes colon cancer. They've got so much research now to prove it.
Oh, I'd hate to think what's in a hot dog. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we're talking about camel balls. I saw Rita and Sal. Rita's watching this right now. We're talking about camel balls. Well, there's probably other meat balls, I'd say, going on in meat pies and hot dogs and sausage rolls. And I'd hate to think. And if people only knew.
Right?
Balls apparently.
That's what. So that's There's not much love going on, and there's no clap going on. So
no.
So that's what I'm saying is, try and get as fresh as possible. It's really hard to do these days, and that's why I say to my patients, I used to get them to smell the herbs, so like cinnamon, ginger, licorice root. Licorice root actually doesn't smell like licorice in its raw form. What's it called? Cardamom and
turmeric.
What was the other one?
Turmeric's
not turmeric.
Cinnamon. You said cinnamon. Nutmeg.
Yeah.
Nutmeg.
Fennel.
Oh, fennel. Oh, yeah, I love fennel.
So the reason why I get them to smell those herbs is because they would have been, they're in our pantry for a reason. So what do I mean by that? Well, our grandparents would have known what that meant. It means that there was something wrong with your stomach. So those herbs are what I would give you if you had stomach issues. But our great grandparents would have known that. Why? Because they had to grow it themselves. So if you had a stomach issue, constipation, diarrhea, whatever, they'd give you those herbs. They'd eat those herbs themselves. They'd eat it straight out of the garden. So see what I'm saying is, that problem is that information has been lost. And if you go to the Woolies or Coles, I've done it. I've been there. I've gone and spoken to them, and they have no idea.
No, they'll say, "Give us a Panadol," right?
Yeah. Upset stomach. They go and get some Gaviscon or
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
some stomach tablets. Or yeah,
Yeah,
whatever, Imodium or something like that. Or
yeah,
all
yeah. It's
right.
crazy. The pill popping society. We've got lots of people hopping on live. Hello, Jacqueline Price is here. She says she worked there for 25 years in hematology. Arslan Ahmad, great. He says for Lisa Moffat. Hello, lovely people. I always say the mind is a powerful thing, she says. Rita says, hello, beautiful people. Rita, thank you, Rita, for the red peacock makeup. Fantastic. Love your work. Robert Roytel, hi. He says, hi. Hey, Robert, how are you? And Felisa says, my son has been a vegetarian since March last year and hasn't looked back. She says you get proteins in different types of beans, chickpeas, mushrooms, greens. Yes. And kale, I believe, is really good too. Kale.
No, I'm sorry to say that's a fallacy.
Oh, is it? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Have I believed the lies? Kale. Is it good for iron at least?
I don't know. The legumes. She would be talking about legumes and
Legumes, yeah.
beans legumes and beans and nuts.
Yes.
Actually, no, the body doesn't treat them like a protein.
Oh, really?
So in a laboratory setting, yes, she is right, but the
Oh.
body does not treat it like a protein. How do we know? Because it causes an insulin spike.
Oh, wow. So what are some good proteins then for those who don't want animal flesh?
Good luck.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, interesting. All right. Well, there you go. Well, do your own research on that, guys. Do your own research. Felisa says, and I've had a look at some of Felisa's videos because she did the Global Good News Challenge. Well done for December. Yay, Felisa, 12 days in a row. Well done. I just tried my homegrown corn. So I saw some of her garden actually in some of her videos. Rita says licorice root tea is one of my favorites. Licorice root tea. Yeah,
Nice.
that would be
Sweet.
good for you. What about coffee, Scott? Now, I must say I'm a bit of a coffee addict. I like my strong ground coffee every morning. What do you think of coffee?
So anything, what do you call it? Instant?
It's not instant.
Instant,
Yeah.
isn't it? Okay. If it's percolated and you got the bean itself, that's a lot better. So they don't put preservatives in it.
Yes. Yes.
So the instant stuff they do. So
yes. Yeah. It's crap.
So yeah, the percolator is not so bad if it's a ground bean yourself.
Okay. Yep.
Now, when it comes to, it depends on what you're adding to it. If you're adding milk to it and sugar, well then no, it's not good for you.
Right.
Sorry to say.
No milk, no sugar. Yeah, and actually, there's a great documentary called "What the Health," which is fascinating. Have you seen "What the Health," Scott?
Yeah.
Fascinating about the meat and the dairy industry particularly, and I've actually got it pinned to the Conscious Community Global Facebook group, which you can find on my link tree. I'll share the link here in a minute. What about chai latte? Jacqueline's asking chai latte. What about that, Scott?
Depends on what you're adding to it. So the chai plant is same thing. It's just a herb. It's so they're it's more sweeter, so it's better for the stomach. Whereas the bitter taste of coffee is better for the heart. So that's why I feel calm. That's why I feel calm after it. But the stomach likes sweet, see? So
what about almond milk in chai latte?
No, they process it too much.
No?
Coconut milk's not too bad.
Okay.
It's not as bad. Okay.
You're good to go with coconut milk. Good to go.
Yeah, it's not too bad. They still process it, but it's not as bad as almond milk.
Right. And soy milk's no good.
It won't speed up metabolism. What it'll do is just slow it down. So it's because it's got lactin in it, whereas coconut milk doesn't.
Okay.
As much, I should say. I shouldn't say that. As much.
Right. But
who's interviewing here?
Black ground is good. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. Okay, I'll step back now. I know I'm so used to.
Do that next week.
Over to you.
Do that. Was it 2 weeks? 2 weeks away. Right. Do that to me.
Come watch me interview Scott. Yeah, that's right. We're doing an interview. Actually, we'll give the date of that. We'll give the date. Interviewing Scott on Total Truth Show. Actually, it'll be next week, the 10th of January. It's not announced publicly yet. It'll be at 12 o'clock noon, Queensland time. The truth about how to get busy living. We're going to interview Scott there on Total Truth Show coming up next week. So that'll be cool.
Yeah, mate, that's it. So yeah, what was I going to say? So we'll cut to the last two questions. You've sort of gone over time a little bit. That's all good. So just tell us, what's your ideal avatar or ideal client to Aldwyn?
I work with a lot of speakers, authors, and coaches, particularly speakers. I love inspiring speakers. I love people who already ideally have the confidence to get themselves out there. However, also, there's a lot of authors who don't have as much confidence to get themselves out there. They might be good writers, but not such good speakers. And a lot of coaches, entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs. I love working with people who are out to change the world in some way, who want to make a positive impact on the world. They're the kind of people I love to work with. And generally, they're small to medium-sized businesses. So yeah, they're mostly, and I work with people all over the world. I have a mass media mastery program that's global, and I have clients from all over the world with that. So yeah, love that, and love working with people like myself who are out there stepping up and speaking up in a global scale.
Thank you. And my last question. So you've sort of touched on it already. So what rules would you go by to attain lifelong longevity?
I've touched on a few health tips, and I'm by no means a health expert as such. However, I've done a lot of study, right? I've done a million different courses on all sorts of different things. I've done the whole, Don Tolman's training, Tyler Tolman's training. They do a lot of whole food, whole food advocates, and they've helped heal or reverse the effects of cancers and all sorts of ailments. People have been in wheelchairs, they've helped them walk again, all sorts of things. So I've seen some absolutely phenomenal things happen in the health world as far as that goes. However, one of the biggest things I would say for longevity is to love what you do. Do what you love what you do. If you're not loving what you do, then do something else. If you're just doing it for the money, then you're not going to last in it and you're not going to be happy. So really having that joy, that lust for life is really, really important. And we just actually on Tuesday, we had a lovely group of ladies come together and one gentleman at Bumble's Cafe in Surfers Paradise. And we had an intentions lunch, and we actually got together and we shared what our intentions were for the year. And we talked about what are 3 things that you want to do or do more of this year that will bring you joy. And in fact, I'll ask those joining right now, watching this either live or the replay, what are 3 things that you want to do this year or do more of that will bring you more joy? And that is one of the biggest secrets, I would say, to living a full and long life is to love what you do, to have that passion. And we see it, Scott, when people retire, we see that very soon afterwards, for many of them, they just die because they've got nothing that they're living for or they're passionate about. So what is it that brings you joy? How can you do more of that this year moving forward and bringing some joy into every day? So definitely passion, also being present. I think presence is really important. I think, things like meditation, yoga, for me have been absolute lifesavers. Meditation and yoga, and particularly as a journalist, we have very busy minds. We tend to go, da, 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 and I know sometimes I speak quite fast. And people say sometimes slow down. And however, it just comes out how it comes out. And that's how I speak. And, you're going to like it or you don't. I don't really care. This is me. And I don't care what you think. Really, at the end of the day, I'm speaking my truth. Okay. And I was like the European, right? We tend to speak over each other too, Scott. So, we get very excited. So I must say that passion runs deep in my bloodline. So that presence is really important. And something you can do to just get present, to be in the present moment, is just to focus on your breath. Focus on your breath. Breathe in for 4, out for 4, in for 3, out for 3, in for 2, out for 2, in for 1, out for 1. Right, as just a very simple exercise. In fact, I did it with my team today. We had our team meeting and I did that very simple exercise. And I said, look, just be present, whether you're with your family, whether you're working, whether you're playing, whatever you're doing, be present with the people you're with, because you never know when will be the last time you will see those people. Don't take anything for granted. Appreciate every moment with everyone you're with and bring more joy into your life. So there's some of the biggest tips I'll give you. I've just put there in the private chat, Scott, too, You Can Heal Your Life is the book I was thinking of by Louise Hay. You Can Heal Your Life. If anyone wants to. Yeah, Louise Hay. I think we said Liz Hay. I think we're on
Elizabeth.
There is a Liz Hay too.
Yeah.
Louise, hey, and also for those who'd like to connect, I'd love to connect with you. And all my links are on Linktree/Aldwyn, which is linktr.ee/Aldwyn.
Oh, that was awesome, Alwyn. I don't know what to say. That was fantastic. Yeah, you know what to do when it comes to. I usually say to my guests, leave your details in the comments, and people can get in contact with you. But I don't need to say that because I know you're going to do it anyway.
Yeah,
You got an awesome team, so they'll do that for you. So that's magnificent. And thank you so much for your time. I'm looking forward to this next your podcast.
Yes.
Looking forward to be on that. And thanks to all the audience for listening. And yeah, she's given us some gold today, and she also gave us a heart and a bit of a clap as well. So thank you so much.
The heart and the clap. And Rita's asking, do you have a book, Scott? Do you have a book? Yay!
No, it's coming. I've actually got one coming. Yes.
Coming up, Rita, coming up. Look out for Scott's book. Awesome. And where can people connect with you, Scott? Where do they find you?
So I'm on all platforms. You can go to my private profile. You can also go to, I've got two pages as well called 6 Sense Acupuncture. The other one is Women's Health in Brisbane. I'm also on all the other platforms, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and of course LinkedIn. LinkedIn, I'm Dr. Scott Fox on LinkedIn.
Beautiful.
So you can catch me all there. And also my website, www.sixsenseacupuncture.com.au.
Yeah, awesome. And we both love Mr. Ed Zia too. Special shout out for Ed Zia. Yeah. We met up recently at one of his events in Brisbane with Rob Roytel. We had a great night a few months ago. We met up there. So thank you to Ed Zia for your great work and for all those joining us. Thank you, Scott. It's been a pleasure to be on your podcast. I love this. Let's get busy living. Yay.
Yeah, that's it. You've been on the Get Busy Living. And yeah, thank you so much, Aldwyn.
Thank you, Scott. It's been an absolute pleasure.